Even Hollywood legends aren't immune to being let go from major films. From personal clashes to industry pressures, some of the biggest names in cinema have faced unexpected dismissals. Here are two of the most intriguing cases. Judy Garland, Valley of the Dolls. Judy Garland's departure from Valley of the Dolls remains one of Hollywood's most infamous firings. Initially cast as Helen Lawson, she was considered perfect for the role, but behind-the-scenes tensions cut her time short. Garland reportedly objected to the script's explicit content and struggled with personal demons that affected her performance. Director Mark Robson's harsh treatment and author Jacqueline Suzanne's discomfort with Garland's old-school acting style only added to the turmoil. Just a month after filming began in 1967, the studio pulled the plug on her involvement, replacing her with Susan Hayward. Despite the setback, Garland secured half of her salary and even kept a beaded pantsuit from the set, later wearing it in her performances. Richard Gere, The Lords of Flatbush. Richard Gere's exit from The Lords of Flatbush came down to a notorious feud with Sylvester Stallone. From the start, their relationship was tense, with Gere's intense approach clashing with Stallone's more relaxed style. Things escalated during rehearsals and finally boiled over during a lunch break at Coney Island, where Gere accidentally spilled mustard on Stallone. That was the last straw. Gere was out, and tensions between the two lasted for years. Stallone versus Richard Gere. A spilled snack turns into a feud. One of Hollywood's most infamous on-set disputes occurred between Sylvester Stallone and Richard Gere during the filming of The Lords of Flatbush, 1974. What started as a minor disagreement soon escalated into a full-blown altercation, leading to Gere's replacement. The tension between the two actors had been brewing from the start. Stallone, already known for his tough guy persona, reportedly found Gere's attitude abrasive, while Gere, a rising star, didn't appreciate Stallone's commanding presence. Years later, Stallone reflected on the situation, admitting that although it was unfortunate, the decision was necessary for the smooth continuation of the project. Their feud didn't just end there. It continued for years, with both actors refusing to work together on any future projects. Spencer Tracy's self-destruction on Dante's Inferno, 1935. The firing of legendary actor Spencer Tracy from Dante's Inferno, 1935, serves as a cautionary tale of how personal struggles can sabotage a career. At the time, Tracy was already a well-known talent under contract with Fox Film Corporation, but his off-screen behavior threatened to overshadow his promising career. Tracy's problems were deeply rooted in his battle with alcoholism, which affected his professionalism. Reports from the set suggest that he frequently arrived intoxicated, causing delays and disrupting production. His erratic behavior escalated when he began making unreasonable demands, insisting on script changes that would better suit his vision of his character, Jim Carter, a morally ambiguous fairground operator. While the dismissal was a low point in Tracy's career, it did not mark the end of his success. He later signed with MGM, where he went on to become one of Hollywood's most revered actors, proving that even the most troubled stars can find redemption. Melora Hardin's height cost her Back to the Future, 1985. Not all casting shakeups stem from feuds or misconduct. Sometimes, an actor can lose a role due to something as arbitrary as their height. Such was the case for Melora Hardin, who was originally cast as Jennifer Parker, Marty McFly's love interest in Back to the Future, 1985. At 5'8", Hardin was considered too tall compared to Michael J. Fox, who stood at 5'4". Studio executives worried that the height difference would appear unbalanced on screen, potentially making Fox's character look less dominant, a concern that by today's standards seems outdated and unnecessary. The decision to replace Hardin was made by two female executives at Universal Pictures, highlighting the industry's emphasis on visual dynamics at the time. Hardin's dismissal underscored a broader trend in 1980s Hollywood, where casting decisions were often driven by rigid beauty standards and gender stereotypes. The replacement of an actress over such a trivial detail highlights the pressures women in Hollywood have historically faced, where physical appearance often took precedence over talent. Despite the setback, Hardin went on to have a successful career, starring in popular television series such as The Office and Monk. Mariska Hargitay's short-lived role in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Mariska Hargitay's brief involvement in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. The movie adds another layer to the unpredictable nature of Hollywood. Initially cast as Dulcia, an alien warrior who aids the Power Rangers in their quest for new powers, Hargitay seemed poised for a breakthrough. However, her commitment to family led to an unexpected career twist. During production, she decided to spend Christmas with her loved ones, a choice that did not sit well with the studio. Upon her return, she discovered she had been replaced. Ironically, Gabrielle Fitzpatrick, who was originally cast in the role but had stepped away for medical reasons, had recovered and was reinstated. Despite this setback, Hargitay's career soared far beyond Power Rangers. Eric Stoltz. Back to the Future, 1985. Filming for Back to the Future began in November 1984 with Eric Stoltz cast as Marty McFly. However, after 5 weeks, director Robert Zemeckis and producer Bob Gale realized Stoltz's method acting approach didn't match the film's comedic tone. Stoltz's serious portrayal of Marty emphasized the character's emotional depth and struggles with time travel, but Zemeckis and Gale had envisioned a more lighthearted, charming lead. His intense approach, including insisting on being called Marty off-camera, created tension on set. Eventually, Zemeckis reviewed the footage and found Stoltz's performance lacking the necessary energy. While firing him was a difficult decision, the studio agreed, leading to his replacement by Michael J. Fox, their original choice, who had previously been unavailable due to family ties. On January 10, 1985, Stoltz was officially let go, and extensive reshoots followed. This decision ultimately helped shape Back to the Future into the iconic film it is today. Robert Mitchum, Blood Alley, 1955. Robert Mitchum's departure from Blood Alley in 1955 was the result of personal conflicts and unprofessional behavior. Cast as Clint Tollinger, a merchant ship captain, Mitchum had friction with director William Wellman from the start. Their conflict escalated when Mitchum reportedly threw a crew member into San Francisco Bay during an argument. With production already strained, Warner Brothers opted to fire Mitchum rather than risk further delays. He was replaced by John Wayne, a Hollywood legend known for his reliability. Despite this setback, Mitchum rebounded, starring in Cape Fear and The Night of the Hunter, proving his resilience in the industry. Charlie Sheen, 2.5 Men, 2011. At one point, Charlie Sheen was the highest paid actor on television, earning $2 million per episode of 2.5 Men. However, his erratic behavior and substance abuse issues led to his downfall. In early 2011, Sheen entered rehab, temporarily halting production. Instead of improving, he began making public outbursts, including attacking the show's creator, Chuck Lorre, claiming he had tiger blood and Adonis DNA. On March 7, 2011, Warner Brothers terminated Sheen's contract, citing multiple violations and disruptive behavior. Despite suing the studio, the case was settled, and Sheen's chaotic public persona continued dominating headlines. His replacement, Ashton Kutcher, kept the show running, but it was never the same. Samantha Morton, her 2013. Initially, Samantha Morton was cast as the voice of Samantha, the AI in Her. She recorded all her lines and influenced the film's character dynamics. However, during post-production, director Spike Jonze realized that Morton's interpretation didn't fully align with the evolving emotional depth of the film. As a result, Scarlett Johansson was brought in to re-record all of Samantha's dialogue. Unlike many recastings, this was purely a creative decision rather than a conflict or controversy. Morton, a seasoned actress, continued to thrive with roles in Minority Report and Fantastic Beasts. Sean Young, Batman, 1989. Sean Young was originally cast as Vicky Vale in Batman, but suffered a severe injury during pre-production while preparing for a horseback riding scene. A fractured arm forced her out of the role just a week before filming. Instead of delaying production, the studio replaced her with Kim Basinger. Young later expressed regret, believing the role could have been a turning point in her career. Although she starred in Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, her career never fully recovered, and reports of her being difficult contributed to her being unofficially blacklisted in Hollywood. Dennis Hopper, The Truman Show, 1998. Initially cast as Christoph, the creator of Truman's Artificial World, Dennis Hopper struggled with remembering lines and reportedly exhibited erratic behavior on set. After a few days of filming, the production team decided to replace him with Ed Harris, who delivered a masterful performance. Hopper's history of difficult on-set behavior, fueled by substance issues, had already impacted his career. Despite this setback, he remained a celebrated actor, known for Easy Rider, Apocalypse Now, and Blue Velvet. Harvey Keitel, Apocalypse Now, 1979. Harvey Keitel was originally cast as Captain Willard in Apocalypse Now but was replaced by Martin Sheen after just a week of filming. Director Francis Ford Coppola felt Keitel's aggressive interpretation didn't match his vision for a more introspective Willard. Given the film's chaotic production and extensive delays, Coppola made the tough call to recast the role. Though disappointed, Keitel rebounded with iconic performances in Mean Streets, Taxi Driver, and Pulp Fiction. James Remar, Aliens, 1986. James Remar was initially cast as Corporal Hicks in Aliens, but after just a few weeks, he was arrested in London for drug possession. His legal troubles made him uninsurable, leading the studio to replace him with Michael Biehn. Remar later admitted that his substance abuse negatively impacted his career. Despite the setback, he recovered and went on to secure roles in The Warriors, Dexter, and Sex and the City. Connor Ratliff, Band of Brothers, 2001. Connor Ratliff was set to appear in Band of Brothers, but director Tom Hanks reportedly found his performance lacking emotional engagement, describing him as having dead eyes. He was let go, and a backup actor took his place. This experience inspired Ratliff's 2020 podcast, Dead Eyes, where he explored rejection in the entertainment industry. In 2022, he interviewed Hanks, who was surprised and apologetic about the incident, not recalling the specifics. Ryan Gosling, The Lovely Bones, 2007. Ryan Gosling gained 60 pounds for his role as a grieving father in The Lovely Bones by drinking melted Haagen-Dazs ice cream. However, director Peter Jackson had envisioned a leaner character and was caught off guard by Gosling's transformation. With creative differences unresolved, Gosling was let go on the first day of filming and replaced by Mark Wahlberg. Despite the setback, Gosling's career skyrocketed with La La Land, Drive, and Blade Runner 2049. Stuart Townsend, The Lord of the Rings, 1999. Stuart Townsend was cast as Aragorn in The Lord of the Rings but was dismissed one day before filming. Director Peter Jackson decided Townsend was too young for the role, seeking an older, more rugged actor. Reports also suggested Townsend's work ethic was questioned, as he allegedly skipped training sessions. Viggo Mortensen was cast instead, delivering a legendary performance. Townsend later expressed frustration at not being compensated, despite months of preparation. Viggo Mortensen's casting as Aragorn. One of the most crucial casting decisions in film history was the replacement of Stuart Townsend with Viggo Mortensen as Aragorn in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. While not a firing in the traditional sense, Townsend had already begun rehearsing and training for the role before being let go. The reason? Director Peter Jackson felt he was too young for the part. Mortensen's portrayal added unparalleled depth and gravitas to the character, proving that sometimes last-minute changes can be for the best. John Travolta's controversial exit from The Double. In 1996, John Travolta was set to star in an adaptation of Fyodor Dostoevsky's novel The Double, with an impressive $17 million deal in place. However, his tenure on the project was short-lived due to ongoing disputes with director Roman Polanski. The tensions first emerged during rehearsals in France, where creative clashes intensified, especially over a nude scene Polanski wanted to include without consulting Travolta. Displeased with the decision, Travolta refused, leading to heated arguments and, ultimately, his exit just days before filming. Claudia Wells. Claudia Wells, best known for her role as Jennifer Parker in Back to the Future, 1985, was originally set to continue in the sequels. However, personal tragedy struck when her mother was diagnosed with breast cancer. Faced with an incredibly difficult choice, Wells prioritized family over her rising Hollywood career, stepping away from acting for years. Her role was recast with Elizabeth Shue for Back to the Future Part II and Part II. While a major career opportunity was lost, Wells has since spoken about how the experience shaped her values, emphasizing that some decisions in Hollywood are made out of necessity rather than choice. Melanie Griffith's near-fatal experience on Roar. The 1981 adventure film Roar was intended to showcase the beauty of big cats, but it instead became infamous for its shocking onset injuries. Melanie Griffith, one of the film's stars, faced a terrifying ordeal when a lioness clawed her face, leaving her with severe wounds that required over 50 stitches and reconstructive surgery. The injury was so grave that there were initial fears she might lose an eye. Griffith was far from the only victim. Several crew members were mauled, including the cinematographer, who was scalped by a lion. The sheer danger of the production led to mass resignations, with up to 18 people quitting in a single day. Griffith ultimately stepped back from the project, prioritizing her safety. Despite the traumatic experience, her career thrived, later earning her an Academy Award nomination for Working Girl. Edward Norton's clash with Marvel. Edward Norton's portrayal of Bruce Banner in The Incredible Hulk, 2008, was well received, but his time in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, was short-lived. The primary reason? Creative differences with Marvel Studios. Norton, who also contributed as an uncredited co-writer, envisioned a darker, more introspective take on the character. He even pitched a prologue depicting Banner's suicide attempt, which the studio rejected in favor of a more action-driven approach. Tensions grew as Marvel cut significant portions of the film, reducing its runtime from Norton's preferred 140 minutes to 112 minutes. Reports surfaced that his insistence on controlling the narrative and his clashes with director Louise Leterrier created a strained working environment. Ultimately, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige announced that they wanted an actor who would better fit the ensemble spirit of the MCU, leading to Norton's dismissal. Mark Ruffalo took over the role in The Avengers 2012, winning over fans and cementing his place in Marvel history. Though disappointed, Norton later admitted that the situation was as much a business decision as it was creative. Selma Blair versus Charlie Sheen. Selma Blair's departure from Anger Management, 2013, was one of the most publicly dramatic firings in recent memory. Blair, who played Dr. Kate Wales opposite Charlie Sheen, reportedly expressed concerns about Sheen's work habits, specifically his frequent tardiness and erratic behavior. When Sheen found out, he allegedly sent her a profanity-laced text message informing her that she was fired. Sheen later downplayed the controversy, stating that Blair's character was simply written out due to shifting storylines. However, the incident highlighted larger issues in Hollywood regarding workplace dynamics and professionalism. Despite the negative press, Blair moved forward, earning praise for roles in American Crime Story, The People v. O.J. Simpson, and various reality TV appearances.